Hey guys, Andres here. No joke, The Ghost of Mollie McGee is one of my favorite shows of all time. It has fun characters, top-notch voice acting, and nice balance between episodic comedy and emotional moments, and of course, some of the most stellar rigged animation you'll ever see in a Disney show. Some part with shows like Bluey and The Proud Family too. And you better believe I was excited for season 2 when it was announced. I was so hyped for this thing, I even made a little 40-second sketch and everything. And come to think of it, I have not been this hyped for a cartoon's continuation since The Owl House. And now that Season 2A has finally released in Disney Plus, I can finally talk about it. Without further ado, let's get to the review. Let's start with the negatives. First, let me try a little experiment here. There's a new family moving next door, and they impress the main characters in every way. And the teen lead has a love interest. Just let me know if you haven't heard this before, because I may need to speak from the heart here. I really hate the perfect neighbor trope. And I don't care if some fans come at me for this, but I especially hate it in the Mitchells vs. the Machines. The only time I actually liked the use of this trope was in The Croods 2, but that was mostly because the Better Men ironically had issues of their own. Plus the movie made it very clear that they are just as dysfunctional as the Croods themselves. Another trope I hate to come from this season is the near identical love interest. Let's talk about Mollie and Ollie, cause I don't fucking know. Why not just go with Molliver? Getting this out of the way, I don't hate Ollie himself. The problem is that he's just Mollie, but a dude. Now I know it's weird I'm criticizing a Disney show for using this trope of all things, especially when Mickey and Minnie are right there. But the thing about Mickey and Minnie is that despite being identical in design, their personalities are distinctive enough so we can tell them apart. It's not just romantic couples. I also apply this to duos in general. Imagine if Cuphead and Mugman literally had the same personality. Either the greedy, reckless, fun-loving Cuphead, or the also fun-loving yet conscious Mugman. Imagine if Anne and Luz literally had the same personality and goals. Imagine if Sonic the Hedgehog was just a clone of Mario. Keep going! Instead of having the buttersmooth slopes, ramps, rings, and environments with the right blend between cartoon and realism, just blocks, coins, and mushroom-themed environments. You see where I'm getting at? Mollie and Ollie literally talk the same, eat the same, think the same, and so on and so forth. Did no one in the writing team thought for even a second that it was way too coincidental that Mollie would all of a sudden meet a boy who she shares her entire personality with? They, however, have one difference. Oliver and his family are ghost hunters! Seriously, what was the thought process behind this? Why would Mollie be madly in love with someone who she knows will be eventually after her best friend? Speaking of which, Oliver also brings another narrative problem. The forced second act breakup. Are we really still doing this? Have we yet to learn that this storytelling trope just doesn't work? It's just tedious and makes me want to punch the characters in the face. It Chapter 1, Toy Story 4, Mitchells vs. the Machines. Like, really? Would Mollie and Scratch really act like this? After everything they've been through? Just to sum it up, Oliver just brings out the worst in Mollie. I don't care how many times they cutely blush at each other. All this,
You just gestured to all of me.
It's not only a toxic and black and white representation of how relationships even work, it also makes Mollie look narcissistic, selfish, hypocritical, and borderline makes both her and Scratch unlikable. Whew. Now let's get to the positives. Episode 1 did a nice job reintroducing the McGees and recontextualizing the setting with Scratch becoming the new chairman. The more I thought about it, yeah, it makes sense. Mollie was not entirely a ghost when she fought the chairman, so by technicality, the one responsible for everything was Scratch. Also, Ghost Council were surprisingly a lot of fun. Especially Sir Alistair, who's literally just striking from Kim Possible. And I've got to talk about the representation in this season. There's a character who outright says she's autistic, and there's an entire episode tackling periods. I remember they did the same thing with the Baymax show and everyone freaked out about it, including a certain someone. But they kind of played it safe since Baymax was a Disney Plus exclusive. This time it was a Disney show for everyone to see. By the way, if you're by any chance a grown-ass man who for some reason gets offended when serious topics are normalized in kids media, I plead you to get the hell out of my channel. Your brain-dead fragility is not and will never be welcomed here. Bye-bye, you won't be missed. Now onto the characters themselves. Mollie, despite the fact that just a minute ago I ripped her a new one, she has stayed mostly consistent, outside of the Molliver plots of course. She's the same prideful, hardworking schemer who's always looking out for others and is full of surprises. Scratch is still the annoying roommate who always knows when to step up and help others. Pete and Sharon remain practically the same. Daryl was given more layers this time around. Libby's character has come such a long way that she even feels like part of the family. Hey, I forgot to mention something. Libby and Jeff have joined the brawl! And finally, there's Andrea. I'm very surprised they haven't done anything to regress her back into Mollie's rival in any way. As a matter of fact, the two are extremely supportive of each other this time around. Though it does have that Ann and Sasha thing where I'm sometimes like, I can't believe these two used to be enemies. I also like how they're not suddenly the bestest of friends. They still have their bumps here and there. Like Mollie being so prideful she'll even get reckless at times, and Andrea still letting her corporate instincts get in her head. And I think that's brilliant since relationships in general aren't perfect and neither they should be. Especially the ones that are just starting to bloom. Oh yeah, there's also the post-credit scenes, which you don't normally see in kids shows. There's one where Scratch gets a flashback to his past life, and there's one in particular which I'm sure will somehow tie into the season finale as it unfolds. So just to conclude, Mollie Season 2 is both an improvement and a downgrade from Season 1. Overall, while I give Season 1 an 8 or maybe even a 9 out of 10, I give this season 7 out of 10. Despite my serious problems with it, I still recommend it. Also, Ghost Libby and Wraith Daryl are a thing now. Beautiful. Anyway guys, stay faithful and hopeful.
Hey, hey, hey.